Welcome to my basement! The idea for this week's episode started when I saw this. This is the Tide Lamp Kickstarter as fronted by Neil from the Retro Collective over in the UK. The creator of this lamp is a fellow named Alex Tweed. I have to say that this lamp looks really nice. And it's definitely something that I could have bought, but my brain thought, how hard can it be to make this myself? Let's dive in. So I decided to try to make a lamp, and I've done some 3D printing, and yeah, this is the base of the lamp, and this is the diffuser, I guess, and the idea is to mount LED strips on all these sides, 8 in total, and control them with a Raspberry Pi Pico. So when you work with these LED strips, it's important to follow the arrow, which tells you in what direction the signal should go in, so that you don't try to push the signal the wrong way, because that won't work. So basically we're just going to fasten them like this, and then the signal goes that way, and then we will sort of follow the signal and wrap it over here. And when we come down here again, we will wrap it again. Yeah, you get the idea. So yeah, I mounted the strips off camera. So we just need to wire the strips up, and also wire one of the strips to the Pico. So this is the wiring diagram for the parts that make up the lamp. We need to have a deeper look to understand how we are to communicate with all these 88 individual LEDs. So this is how the strips are wired together. The bottom of the lamp is on the top here. Could have drawn it the other way around, I guess, but once I figured that out, I wasn't about to put another hour into redrawing it. So the first row of 8 LEDs at the bottom of the lamp will then actually correspond to the following physical LEDs: 0, 21, 22, 43, 44, 65, 66, and 87. Thus, to light up row 0, we need to light up these LEDs. Of course, I'm not about to write all these numbers into the code, so I ended up with this instead that generates the mapping table we just saw. When we then want to light up a row, we just retrieve a specific row from this table, and we instantly have the list of LEDs that we need to light up. So we're back on the bench with my lamp, and it's been a few weeks, and the reason for that is that once I finished soldering and hooked it up to my Raspberry Pi, it did not work. It was because I accidentally referred to GPIO pin 0 as number 1 in my code, and yeah, that did not work, of course, and I'm actually not sure why I made that mistake. Anyways, once I fixed that, it still didn't work, and the reason for that was that this connection up here from the signal pin on this strip to the next strip, the soldering was bad, so it kind of worked. The connection was just bad. It worked sometimes, and sometimes it didn't, and what happened is that I could control this strip perfectly, but the other strips showed random colors, which might happen if you get out of sync with the signal. But once I resoldered this middle wire once again, everything worked perfectly, at least last time I tested it. So yeah, let's hook it up to power and see if the code I now have on the Pi actually does something. As we can see, it displays the color blue on all LEDs. It's not at the full brightness, it's at half brightness, I think. yeah, the idea is that this should work as a diffuser so you don't see the individual LED lights, and that actually works really well. Nice. So the next step is to actually implement some effects. So let's see if we can do that. My oldest boy has requested 2 effects, fire and slime. Yeah, let's see if we can do fire at least, and slime I guess is just getting the right green color. When I started to implement some patterns for my lamp, I discovered that it doesn't really work. Sometimes it displays the colors it should, but sometimes it doesn't display any at all, or just a random pattern basically. So after doodling around for a long while, I figured out it's actually the wires. They are too thin, and the signal that is supposed to travel from strip to strip is not communicated correctly, I guess. So once I changed to the bigger wires that I have used recently for the same LED strips, everything is working consistently finally. I'm just happy I figured it out at the end and that the lamp is now consistently working. I also printed a base for this. This is a 2-part print, and the top here just fits into this bottom part without gluing, but these 2 bottom parts are glued together, and this should give me plenty of room to house the lamp stuff. And on top of that we will have the diffuser, of course, and also I have a lid for the bottom, which goes there. So I messed about off camera and added the 2 switches, one for power and the red one for changing the effect. And also added the power cable with a cable tie there to avoid it from getting pulled out. I'll probably epoxy it in place. Let's try to get everything together, I guess. Starting to be a bit messy. And yeah, if you wonder why my... Oh no, I didn't... Clerical error here. So yeah, I forgot to remove the old one, so I have to cut that, I guess. And the reason why I printed a new one was that I needed the holes for the buttons and the wire. And after printing for a while, I have learned that that is a good way to do it, to make it modular so that you can change parts as you go. Yeah, I need to glue this one back in place. So we have everything hooked up, and I have modified a 3D model I found on Thingiverse to fit all the wires sticking out, and it did. And the idea is to glue this to the base and then just button it up, I guess. Yeah, it's glued in place, so let's see if we can fit it all inside. Yeah, here we go. The whole lamp is assembled for the first time, actually. Not sure if the blue base made it look any better, but the reason is that I ran out of gray filament. So yeah, when you prototype, you use what you have, I guess. Let's see it in action and see if the different effects work. So I actually almost ended up calling this lamp for the NTFS lamp. And the reason for that is not because it's running the NTFS file system. As far as I know, the Raspberry Pi is utilizing the Little FS system, or Little File System, version 2. NTFS in this case stands for the 4 different effects that I have implemented for this lamp. And for normal, a daylight effect, just like an ordinary lamp. T for tide, this one is a lot more sophisticated. It hooks up to the internet, synchronizes the clock using NTP, then retrieves 4 days of tidal data. This tidal data is of course used to visualize the tide in my area. When the tide is rising, the lamp will make a swirling effect at the top, and when the tide is going down, it will make a swirling effect at the bottom. This way I know when to fish and when to stay home. F for fire, not super eager to show off this effect actually, as I don't think it's done that well, but for my first try on a fire effect, I guess it's not a total disaster either. It seems like the Pico, or more specifically CircuitPython, is struggling to redraw the pixels fast enough to make the animation fluid. Or it might just be that my implementation is all to blame. S for slime, just simple green slime with a dripping effect. Let's face it, my lamp is not as good looking as the real tidal lamp. It also, of course, lacks all the app control features. Thus, if you like comfort and beauty, please consider buying the real thing. I'll leave a link in the video description if you want to check it out. When that is said, I'm really happy with my lamp and how it turned out. Not only do I have a tide lamp, I also have a fire lamp, a slime lamp, and even a normal looking lamp. Next up, I probably should look into implementing a northern lights effect. As always, code and 3D models are available in the video description. I'll also pop in a link to the free Tidal API that's developed and freely distributed by the state of Norway. That's it for this video. If you're still here, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button while you're down there. And as always, I do hope to see you again next time.